It is 20 after 5. The sun has been up for quite a while already. So I'll be making the regular morning colony move now as we prepare for the honey flow. All these colonies I have just tucked in here and tucked in there need to be moved out, because once that flow starts, we're going to be flat out. So I need things in place. Not sure exactly where to start. We have rain ahead of us, so I have to plan for the mud. I think I might move these girls out, move them out to a yard. We'll see. So this whole formic business has been a kind of a learning exercise for me, and I've decided I'm not going to be following with any further treatments. It just isn't a treatment that suits my style. From what I was observing, and I was watching closely throughout the treatment period, and the bees, they get shocked. And I'm not sure exactly what goes on, but they stop everything. Almost like they go into a holding pattern. They start to beard, they quit flying, they quit colony activity within the nest, they quit tending to the brood, and I think that's what kills the open brood. And I imagine this is what happens for the first day to maybe 3-4 days, to where the acid wears off and they resume normal colony activity. But by that time, the brood's starved or dead, and that's when they start hauling out the dead. I mean, I guess treatment better work if you're going to be exposing your colony to that kind of stress. I'm just not convinced it's worth the casualty. You know, I invest a lot of money into building the nests. I invest a lot of time to build nests and move them forward, continually develop to prevent this kind of a stress event and this kind of interruption. And here I'm purposely putting in a product that whack, just hammers them back. And that is, I mean, that's just not my experience. That's what happens with the formic treatment, considering the amount of feedback I've received from beekeepers all over the world. And many beekeepers have followed suit with the same conclusion as mine, is it's just not worth it. But many beekeepers also, you know, either they close their eyes and they accept that loss to be able to manage those mites. And I guess ultimately that is our objective. So I might not have totally written it off, because it is a tool and I might have to apply this tool, but I'm sure having trouble. You know, I'll leave it in that toolkit, I guess. But I'm going to be looking for other treatment options.
Working through the nukes that we set up with the vaccine. This side of the yard is 50 colonies, and we're just queen checking right now. This side of the yard is non-vaccinated. We queen checked them last week. This side of the yard queen checked 100%, and it's like they didn't miss a beat. They are for sure a week ahead of the vaccinated queens. Well, because we had held the vaccinated queens in the battery box for a week. So they're a week behind in development, and they just started laying. What's that one look like? Is that a fresh brood nest, or is that an old? That's gotta be old.
That's old cap coming out, and then she's got open brood here and a little bit on this frame.
Oh yeah, see some open brood. Yeah, so you know, 5 days of laying.
Oh, she's right here. Top middle.
Beautiful queens, Jacob Ackerman queens. So just, you know, just establishing themselves a week behind. A week makes a big difference in the spring here. Acceptance rates, this is the last pallet we're working on, and we've had 2 misses. So 2 out of 50 at 4%. Which compared to that side is not as good, because that side was 100%, but 2 misses could be a lot of things. Held the bees for an extra week in the queen bank. Just shit happens sometimes. So at any rate, the queen acceptance, I would say, is virtually no different from the non-vaccinated to the vaccinated. And that's one of the things that Daylan asked me about, is if I would assess the queen acceptance, because there has been some concern about that. Not finding it here. Left a frame of comb in my truck while I was working. Obviously still in robbing season, but moving towards the honey flow, they're not as crazy. There's a box in the back there. It's a dead out. Not as crazy for it. So there's little bits and pieces keeping them busy. So I'm working through, just doing kind of an even out, finding these great big ones and just knocking them back a little bit to boost the smaller ones. So I worked through this yard, taking a frame out, giving a frame, kind of sorting back and forth. By the time I got to the end, I ended up with a box of brood. So I found a colony that was a boomer. I was like, oh boy. I took like 2 boxes of bees. I didn't really go down to the bottom, but it looked like there's brood on most of the frames on the bottom, and then 5 up top. So I took 4 from these guys, and just dripping of bees. So maybe to pull them back a little bit further, put this box of brood up on top. So these bees will go up, populate, and keep this brood until I can use it. And I have a yard that needs a boost. It'll be quickly used up. So every frame I pull out of these colonies, there's substantial frames of brood, like solid on both sides. So it makes an impact. Impact when I take it away, and impact when I give it. I don't give little partial frames here and there. That's just a waste of time. And I don't bother searching for the queen and the bees on the comb. It's pretty much, you know, it's not important. It's just shifting the brood frames around to even things out. So that's what I'm doing. And that's to take that edge off the swarm within the yard, and then to bring up the bottom. So then when I go through and we box things up, we come back through to, you know, top things up. Everything should be the same. Everything should be stacked pretty much the same. That's my objective. A lot of these colonies were the bulk bee splits that I made up last year. It just happened a bunch of them fell into this yard. And these Kona queens, I've had to pull a lot of them back. I didn't take a split off most of them, because they're just a little bit smaller. They're nukes, right? But I've pulled 2 frames anyways from these bulk bee splits. And that's one of the reasons why I have some surplus over there. You know, kind of making me sweat a little bit because I'm looking at this and thinking, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. These bulk bee splits have sure worked out for me this year. As long as they don't swarm off on me, we'll just wait and see. So it's nice having a brood bank by the time I'm done the work in the yard. It sucks when you go through a yard and you have colonies that could have been boosted. It's always nice to have a little bit of surplus. So I'll send the guys back, grab that box after lunch, and they'll head down and boost a yard.